You're watching San Diego 6 News at 10.
These are amazing. They're ripping perfectly.
High surf advisory extended for parts of Southern California as a heat wave moves through San Diego. Your Labor Day weekend forecast straight ahead.
I'm hardly making my monthly bills.
Calling for no limits on taxi permits. The effort underway in San Diego that could help drivers but may wipe out business owners. We'll hear from both sides.
Love working here in San Diego. The theater's beautiful.
And Bright Star actor comedian Steve Martin talks about his latest collaboration on a brand new musical soon to premiere at the Old Globe in San Diego. Good evening. Thanks for joining. I'm Jim Patton.
And I'm Netta Iranpour. The National Weather Service extending that beach hazard statement due to high surf continuing to roll through our area.
Thousands of people line the shoreline at Newport Beach today to see the wedge wave break. Some brave surfers and bodyboarders took on those 20-foot waves. The wedge, known as one of the most difficult breaks on the West Coast for its power and shape. Surfers from all over come to Newport Beach to challenge this spot. Lifeguards say these waves are part of the aftermath of Tropical Storm Marie, swirling 800 miles off the coast of California.
This is definitely a pretty special swell. We haven't seen waves this big definitely since 2009. So wedge is always a pretty intense wave, but when it gets kicking like this, then it's like something else.
These are amazing. They're ripping perfectly. It's like nothing I've ever seen.
Extra lifeguards and emergency personnel lined the beach. At least 2 swimmers were rescued after becoming stranded in the water.
And meteorologist Sabrina Fine, she's monitoring the surf tonight, joining us now. How high will those waves get, Sabrina?
Well, it does look like that surf advisory is going to continue for at least Orange County and up through LA County until around 6 p.m. tomorrow. For us, we also have the coastal flood statement as well until that time. 7-foot waves are right now off of our coast. You can see about 5 to 6 foot sets just off of Orange County, but we are actually forecasting waves to get a little bit higher over the evening hours, where we could see some sets off of, say, Malibu and even into Long Beach up to 15 feet. But for the most part, we're going to stay 4 to 6 feet. And then heading into tomorrow, nothing really changes for us. The real concern will be out over toward Orange County, where they will then see their waves drop slightly 4 to 7 feet. And notice it goes all the way up toward northern Santa Barbara coastline. 2 to 4 feet there. If you're doing some traveling for this holiday weekend, if you are heading out, be advised that those waves are going to continue a little bit longer. And in fact, next Thursday, we could see another set of high waves roll through off the storm system that's right now just off the coast of New Zealand. Up through Santa Barbara, you'll be looking at temperatures about 79 degrees for Saturday, as well as on into Sunday, and into LA, 79 and 80. Beautiful sunny skies, and Palm Springs over the weekend, a toasty one at 106. Guys, back to you.
Sabrina, thank you. Military officials confirming tonight that the pilot of an F-15 jet that crashed in a remote area of the Virginia mountains is dead.
The pilot and jet were with the 104th Fighter Wing of the Massachusetts Air National Guard. The F-15 fighter jet crashed in the mountains of western Virginia yesterday, shaking residents but causing no injuries on the ground. Authorities said the pilot of the single-seat jet was headed to New Orleans for radar installation as part of routine maintenance and reported an in-flight emergency before losing radio contact.
It is a very special night aboard the USS Midway Museum. The Midway is marking its 10th anniversary with its annual American Patriot Awards.
San Diego 6's John Carroll live at the Midway with the Americans that were honored tonight for their roles in one of the most pivotal battles of World War II. John.
Netta, Jim, that battle is the Battle of Midway, which is acknowledged by historians as a major turning point in the battle for the Pacific against the Japanese in World War II. And tonight, 7 men who assured the success of that battle were honored here. Amidst the parked planes on the Midway's deck, a gala to give the annual American Patriot Award to 7 vets who were there in June of 1942 as American servicemen fought hard to rout the Japanese off of Midway Island.
I'd do it all over again if I had to.
That's 99-year-old Andy Mills. He was the personal steward to the commanding officer of the USS Yorktown. He helped evacuate fellow crew members when the Yorktown came under attack. Now, some 72 years later, Mills says he's grateful for a special evening like this.
I feel great. I think being honored is one of the best things in the world, especially to a serviceman.
I was 18 years old when I went into that battle.
Edward McKenna was a plane captain when he was sent to the Battle of Midway. He says over the years he sometimes wondered whether his fellow Americans knew what he and his comrades went through in the bloody battle for Midway. So for Edward McKenna, this night, at long last, answers that question.
And then to come here and have a party like this, I'm sorry, I get teary-eyed, and the fact that now we're really being honored for what we did is something great.
This evening wasn't just about dinner and stories. 4 jumpers from the group Skydiving Innovations parachuted out of a helicopter from 2,000 feet above the Midway, the last of the group showing the flag that these men fought for so long ago. Now, this evening is also a fundraiser for the No Child Left Ashore Scholarship Fund. That fund assists low-income students in attending Midway University. That's a program held here on board where students learn about math, science, technology, and engineering. We're live tonight just outside the USS Midway Museum. John Carroll, San Diego 6 News.
John, thank you so much. A limo business in the Midway District is destroyed by fire. Fire crews responded to Cary Limousine chauffeur and guide service on the 3000 block of Rosecrans Place about 3:30 this afternoon. One man escaped out of a window, was taken to the UCSD Burns Center to be treated for smoke inhalation. Crews had the fire out in less than half an hour, but later found that a cat had died inside the building. Fire officials say the fire started in a room on the 2nd floor.
Don't know if it was a living space like temporary for the employees or if someone was actually living there.
Fire officials say there were several limos inside. Fire is still being investigated. Still no word on how it started.
And 2 people are recovering tonight after a nasty 3-car accident east of the Zoo Safari Park. This was the scene this morning on State Route 78 in San Pasqual. Police say the Pontiac Firebird was speeding around a curve when it hit a car and truck, which ended up on its side. The Pontiac driver badly hurt his leg. The woman in the car he hit also was taken to the hospital.
Man is in custody tonight after an 8-hour standoff with police.
We're not going to go away, so we need to get this over with, right?
All started on the 200 block of Grapevine Road in Vista just after 6 p.m. last night. Suspect reportedly threatened his property manager with a billy club. When police arrived, man would not come out of his apartment. Police negotiated with him throughout the night, and he was arrested around 2 o'clock this morning.
The battle over the minimum wage hike continues, and today a signature gatherer was fired after he was caught on camera misleading people. The San Diego Small Business Coalition is working to get voters to decide on the minimum wage bill. Organizers say they do not approve of spreading misleading information. The group has until mid-September to collect all 34,000 signatures. Otherwise, the minimum wage will rise to $9.75 an hour on January 1st.
It is the last preseason game of 2014, and only those in attendance could enjoy the full experience as the game was in a blackout.
But apparently not that many fans decided to attend tonight's game. Tabitha Lipkin live at Qualcomm Stadium with the reason why. Tabitha.
Jiminetta, preseason is a time for players to get ready for the season that lies ahead of them, but today they didn't exactly draw the fan base that they had hoped for. Some fans saying the reason is mainly because they're going to be playing the Cardinals again during their next game. Others saying because they're playing their bench.
There's nobody here right now.
The Chargers are experiencing their first blackout of the year after not selling enough tickets to broadcast the game.
That's another reason no one's here, because no one's going to show anything. We're going to get all backup players the whole time.
The Chargers will be playing the Cardinals again in their first season game in Arizona, and that has deterred many fans from this last preseason match.
I was at the last game. I was in this exact same location. It was much busier last game. Maybe it is because we're playing the Cardinals and people are expecting that so soon again. That could have something to do with it.
Despite the light turnout, Chargers Public Relations Director Bill Johnston says this game is where you really see the heart and soul of players. 15 have already been cut from the roster, and another 22 will have to go by Saturday.
I think they're going to see a lot of players that are just fighting to make our roster, and that's the exciting thing that we are watching tonight.
Another bright note, getting to see the game costs a fraction of the regular season cost, with many tickets selling for $20 or less.
Most people can't afford, $95 seats. Okay? A game like this, whether you go on Craigslist, StubHub. People don't always go to the preseason games. Gives an opportunity for friends, family, co-workers to be able to go to a game and have a good time.
As for the Chargers' season home opener against the Seattle Seahawks, well, that one is sold out. If you weren't able to see the game, then guess what? The Chargers did win 12-9, something a lot of fans are excited about. Reporting from Qualcomm Stadium, Tab Lipkin, San Diego 6 News.
Thank you to the fans for being well behaved out there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tabitha. Well, comedian, actor, and play creator, musical creator actually, Steve Martin is about to spend a couple months here in San Diego for a show at the Old Globe Theater.
Bright stars keep shining for me.
San Diego 6 got a sneak peek at parts of the performance in a dress rehearsal with the 18-member cast. Now, this musical was created by a book written by Steve Martin. Martin and Edie Brickell co-wrote the music and lyrics for Bright Star after having created Martin's award-winning banjo album together. So I interviewed him today and had to ask what intrigues him about the Old Globe Theater.
We're quite proud of what's been done here, and we love working here in San Diego. The theater's beautiful. Well, you never know what it's going to be until an audience sees it, and no audience has ever seen this.
That's right. The world premiere begins September 13th. It runs through November 2nd, 8 times a week, every day but Monday. And coming up tomorrow night, I find out from Steve Martin about his experiences here in San Diego so far, so you'll find out where you might catch him around town.
Fun to meet Steve Martin?
Yes.
Starstruck at all?
So nice. And he had
Yeah.
really cool socks, I have to point out. They were polka dot and hot pink.
I noticed that in some of the video. All right, well, Joan Rivers in the hospital, latest on her condition and what happened during surgery that sent her to Mount Sinai.
And out of the hospital and in with the Dolphins for these kids, the special story of the person who made this very VIP day at SeaWorld possible.
A bus driver's heated punishment, why he kept kids in a sweltering bus with the windows rolled up.
And the team gets dumped, why the Ice Bucket Challenge hits close to home for San Diego State's basketball players, especially Coach Steve Fisher.
You're watching San Diego 6 News at 10 with Jim Patton, Neda Iranpour, and meteorologist Sabrina Fine.
Welcome back. Joan Rivers is in the New York hospital after she stopped breathing during surgery.
81-year-old comedian was taken to Mount Sinai Hospital in critical condition. Her heart stopped while undergoing throat surgery this morning. TMZ reports she was having a procedure done on her vocal cords at a local clinic. Her daughter has since tweeted that Rivers is resting comfortably. Now, the teen basketball recruit from Ghana who drowned while kayaking in Mission Bay is being remembered today. A prayer service was held at the Islamic Center of San Diego in Claremont to honor 17-year-old Abdul Razak Shanan. It was followed by an emotional funeral in National City. The exchange student who was being recruited to play at San Diego State University drowned after his kayak capsized Sunday afternoon. Shanan's basketball coach says he was far more than a talented basketball player.
His thing was he was just a great human being. He was a great kid. I never heard him say a bad thing. Never asked, for too much. Was grateful for every single thing he had. He was every day he would wake up saying, "I'm breathing, I'm alive, I'm blessed," and that was his attitude for life.
If you'd like to help, the African Youth Basketball Organization set up a fundraising effort at youcaring.com. Funds will help pay the cost for the funeral and to help Shanan's family in Ghana with memorial services. So far, more than $10,000 has been raised.
Well, it is amazing what a few dolphins can do for a child's spirit. Several local kids with life-threatening illnesses treated at Rady Children's Hospital got a chance to dive right in at SeaWorld.
Oh, yeah!
A ride they never thought was possible, happening now, all because Joy Clausen Soto had cancer.
If I hadn't been there, if I hadn't been sick and gone through this tough experience, then all these kids wouldn't be able to enjoy a day like this.
She, like many of the kids in the water, knows what it's like to be stuck in a hospital bed, but she's a survivor. After her battle with lymphoma, Joy became a dolphin trainer and now wants to share her joy.
You don't know what's going to happen in the future, and here I am all these years later, and not only do I have a baby, but I'm pregnant with my second child.
She beat the odds. Given only a 10% chance of pregnancy, Joy is now expecting her second child. And for these kids, she represents hope.
And right here, this is the pool where she breathes from. It's also where she makes all of her sounds.
As Joy shows them the unique traits of her sea friends, their grins couldn't be any bigger.
It was amazing.
I loved it.
And it was once in a lifetime chance.
One by one, they kiss the dolphins, but their favorite part?
Riding on the dolphins.
An emotional day for the parents who long for their children to be out of the hospital. Lola Schnittker knows that feeling all too well.
Every parent and grandparent's nightmare.
Her family was hit by a drunk driver in March of 2013. The driver died, but everyone in the Cunningham's minivan got hurt, especially Taylor. She's the former Miss San Diego's outstanding teen. She was in a coma and in the ICU.
It was life-threatening. I don't have anything good to say about it. It's been a rough journey, but I have the best family and friends.
It's been a long road to recovery, and at least for one day, they can all forget the troubles that brought them here.
I never thought I would be here right now, but I am, so I'm really happy.
They are happy. Joy has invited children from Rady Children's Hospital for 7 years now to SeaWorld. She says this is her way of giving back since she feels so lucky to have survived through lymphoma.
Men's basketball team at San Diego State University is now jumping on board with the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge as head coach Steve Fisher's son is affected by the disease.
3, 2, 1, go!
Dozens of athletes and staff members got soaked in front of Hepner Hall today as hundreds gathered to watch. Fisher's son, Mark Fisher, is affected by ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease.
Mark's comment initially was, "I don't need your pity, I need your support."
Despite fighting the disease, Mark is still working as an assistant coach alongside his father at SDSU. Members of the local ALS chapter were at the university collecting donations.
Well, you're looking for something interesting to do this Labor Day weekend. A 4-day festival gives you an up-close look at what life is like at sea. This is the annual Festival of Sail, kicking off tomorrow, going through Monday. 20 ships come from all over the world participate in this event. It was quite a sight this morning as the ships paraded through the San Diego Bay. Look at that. Organizers say the festival offers something for everyone.
You can go on a bay cruise, you can go on a gun battle, we've got some twilight sails, so there's something for everyone here.
Well, the $7 ticket gives you access to tour those ships. Check out the Maritime Museum. There's also a kids zone and a beer garden for those 21 years old and above.
Sounds like a great plan for the weekend. Get yourself near the water where it's a little bit cooler because it is warm.
It is warm, but it's even going to be warm there. So
Wow.
The beer garden probably a really happening place. A lot of people probably getting maybe even some sodas if they can't get the alcohol, or just bring lots of water wherever you go this weekend because temperatures are staying above average, but we are going to introduce the marine layer coming our way. For today, though, out over toward Mission Beach, these folks had the right idea, putting on some shorts as they enjoy the sunshine, going for a nice bike ride or run. This pattern will continue for tomorrow. The good news is, though, temperatures are going to begin to drop. For today, though, it was ice scorcher out towards Santee, 96 degrees. That is exactly what I had forecast for inland locations, so right on track there. Right now, continuing to deal with clear skies and a warm night. Out over toward Coronado, around 74 degrees. Normally this time of night, we're around 69 degrees, so rolling about 5 degrees warmer than normal into the evening hours as well as even into the morning. Mira Mesa, about 78 degrees, and El Cajon, around 77. Not only are we warm, but the humidity, it is back as well. So the more moisture we have in the air, it's harder to warm up, which is why tomorrow we're not going to see temperatures as high as where they were today. The other thing the moisture indicates is we have enough of that juicy air mass in place to lead to a little bit of cloud coverage for us into the early morning hours. The area of high pressure that's been the dominant feature for us is now right overhead, which is why today we saw our max temperatures of the entire week. But it's beginning to nudge a little bit further out over toward the east, and as it does so, it'll take a little bit more heat along with it. So for tomorrow, we are going to see temperatures fall about 3 degrees along the coast and inland communities, yet still remaining about 5 degrees above average. We won't get seasonal until we get to around Tuesday, but at least we'll begin to see a small dip in temperatures. Starting you off at around 8 a.m. tomorrow, already into the low to mid 70s for the coastline. Inland areas getting closer to the upper 70s. There may be a little bit of that fog lingering right along the coastline along I-5 for you into Oceanside and Carlsbad. It should be gone, though, once you get to around the 8 a.m. hour. 1 o'clock for you. Temperatures now no longer into the 90s. They're about 89 degrees in Santee, so a nice change there. La Mesa about 88 degrees. Carlsbad now looking at around 81 compared to today on into the mid 80s. And even for your evening commute, a few more clouds trying to enter the forecast for you along the coastline. Compare this out over towards Saturday, and I think that at 1 o'clock will be our high temperature. So finally reaching the lower 90s for inland areas at the coastline on into the lower 80s. I think that number's a little high. We'll go for about 80 degrees for you on your Saturday, and Labor Day going 78. Inland areas 94 tomorrow, 93 degrees on Saturday, down to the upper 80s on Monday. The mountains 90 degrees. Temperatures are actually going to jump a little bit more for you. The desert's 110, staying hot, and then 108 for the weekend. Let's look at your 7-day forecast, guys. Back to you.
Plenty of people will be in town for that forecast. Thank you, Sabrina. Well, straight ahead, data breach at J.P. Morgan Chase, who the FBI says is behind the attack and why they may have done it.
And banning the bag in California, the steps that have been taken to get the state to switch to reusable bags. The FBI says Russians are responsible for a recent data breach at J.P. Morgan Chase.
Officials say sensitive data from Chase and at least one other bank was stolen. Investigators say it happened immediately after the U.S. extended sanctions on Moscow. While they suspect the attack is in response to those sanctions, they do not believe the Russian government was involved. Well, car-on-demand service Uber is expanding to more cities. The app-based ride-share company posted on its website today that it has launched in 24 new markets, 22 of them in the United States, one in Australia, and another in New Zealand. That means the service, which allows users to connect with drivers for hire, is now available in 205 cities across 45 different countries.
Plastic bag ban in California is heading to the state Senate for consideration after the state assembly approved it today. Bill would phase out single-use plastic bags in California grocery, liquor, and convenience stores. It is intended to protect the environment and jobs in California as the state transitions to reusable bags. So far, 86 local governments throughout California have adopted plastic bag ban ordinances.
Straight ahead, cleared of murder charges. The jury's ruling about a man whose 2 children were killed by a drunk driver.
And going too far to teach kids a lesson, what a bus driver in Ohio did to punish a group of rowdy kids.
You're watching San Diego 6 News at 10.
Tonight, word of another American killed fighting for a terror group overseas who was a friend of Douglas McCain.
McCain's death was reported earlier this week here as he fought for ISIS in Syria. Now, according to a U.S. official, a close high school friend of McCain's, Troy Castigar, was killed 5 years ago fighting for the terror group Al-Shabaab in Somalia. Castigar was even part of a video trying to lure other Americans to join him.
If you guys only knew how much fun we have over here, this is the real Disneyland. You need to come here and join us. Take pleasure in this fun. We walk amongst the lions.
While neither Castigar or McCain were raised Muslim, they had many friends who were members of the large Somali immigrant population in Minneapolis, and they both then converted to Islam.
Well, meanwhile, President Obama says his administration is yet to come up with a strategy to deal with the growing threat posed by ISIS in Syria and Iraq.
Rooting out a cancer like ISIL will not be quick or easy, but I'm confident that we can and we will, working closely with our allies and our partners.
The President is sending Secretary of State John Kerry to the region to promote the formation of a regional anti-ISIS coalition. He stopped short of saying if he'd launch more airstrikes against ISIS without congressional approval. ISIS will be a topic of discussion at next week's NATO summit. The World Health Organization says the deadly Ebola outbreak continues to accelerate and has now killed more than 1,500 people.
The total number of cases stands just over 3,000 now, with 40% occurring in just the past 3 weeks. The outbreak has been centered in Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Liberia, with a handful of cases in Nigeria. According to WHO, the overall fatality rate is 52%. A separate Ebola outbreak, unrelated to the one in West Africa, was reported on Sunday by the Democratic Republic of Congo. Meanwhile, an employee with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is back in the U.S. after coming in close proximity with another aid worker infected with the virus. The staffer is reportedly healthy and not showing any signs of having Ebola. The CDC says the person will be monitored for 21 days to make sure there are no symptoms. The unidentified staffer was flown home on a private plane after spending time with another healthcare worker who did test positive. The other worker was flown to Germany to recover.
An online streaming company is confirming the alleged audio of the shooting of Michael Brown is indeed recorded near the time of his death. Streaming app company Glide authenticated it. The revelation confirms a man's claim he inadvertently recorded audio of the shots fired at the 18-year-old by an officer on August 9th. Experts say you can hear 10 shots. The sounds could be a piece in the larger puzzle of what happened during the shooting. Meanwhile, the police response to the protests in Ferguson is now at the center of a $40 million lawsuit. 6 people filed the federal lawsuit today claiming police violated their civil rights. Lawsuit asked for $40 million in damages from the city of Ferguson, St. Louis County, as well as the county and city police departments and police chiefs. Suit accuses police of making false arrests as well as assault and battery in the unrest following the shooting of Michael Brown.
The search continues for the New York man who pretended to be a cab driver and tried to sexually assault a woman with her 3 children. Here's surveillance video from Queens showing the man lifting the children away and grabbing the woman as she fights back. Police say she got into the man's car after he said he was a cab driver, but once they stopped, he attacked them. After the fight, the man jumps into the car, takes off. 2 of the 3 children were treated for minor injuries, and that man is still at large.
Well, a man whose children were struck and killed by a drunken driver is cleared of murder charges. Andrew Spencer reports jurors didn't believe beyond a reasonable doubt that the father killed a man in a fit of rage.
The ruling came as a relief to David Barajas and what's left of his family.
A lot of weight lifted off my back. I'm still destroyed. I'm missing my sons. Always and forever.
In December 2012, Barajas and his sons, 12-year-old David Jr. and 11-year-old Caleb, were on an unlit road in Alvin, Texas, where a truck had run out of gas. The 3 were pushing it down the road when a drunken driver slammed into the boys, killing them both. 20-year-old Jose Banda would never be arrested. Instead, that night, in the darkness, he was shot and killed inside of his car, prosecutors say by the boy's father. The lead prosecutor still believes Barajas pulled the trigger.
I would never proceed on a case on someone that I believed to be factually innocent.
But she says she respects the jury's decision to acquit. A witness testified he saw Barajas leave the scene, come back a few minutes later, then put his head inside Banda's car. He described hearing a gunshot, but nobody saw the actual shooting. No gun was ever found. The defense argued it was someone else who killed Jose Banda.
What the defense did in this case, which I think was very clever, was they didn't exactly say he had it coming, he deserved it. They gave the jury an opportunity to acquit, but on the evidence that was before them.
And the defense was able to convince jurors that Barajas could not be convicted of murder beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm Andrew Spencer reporting.
In an effort to get firearms off the streets, a local organization is teaming up with law enforcement, offering incentives in exchange for returned guns. The United African American Ministerial Action Council is offering $100 and $200 gift cards to Vons, depending on what kind of gun is returned. They say there will be no questions asked upon the drop-off. Another organization involved is offering another incentive in exchange for firearms.
This is an added incentive for you to bring us a firearm and get it off the street, get it away where it can hurt somebody or kill somebody.
Giving away skateboards then. Law enforcement officials say more than 2,200 guns throughout the county have willingly been turned in within the last 5 years.
A shelter for unaccompanied immigrant children may soon be opening in Escondido. The Escondido City Council will hold a hearing September 10th on the proposal. It had previously been rejected by the city's planning commission. The American Civil Liberties Union appealed to the council to hear the proposal for the shelter. The Border Patrol has taken into custody nearly 63,000 unaccompanied minors since October of last year.
A school bus driver in Ohio in hot water after going too far and trying to teach kids a lesson.
Driver resigned after a student said they were forced to sit in a hot bus with the windows up as punishment for being rowdy. Allison Montoya has the story.
She gets headaches, but she's not usually lethargic. She just came home and wanted to go to bed and ended up staying in bed until about 8 o'clock.
A parent who wants to remain anonymous said his 11-year-old daughter fell ill after her school bus driver allegedly kept her and other students in the hot bus after school on Monday.
She said that the kids were being rowdy and loud, and the bus driver pulled over to the side of the road, and told everyone to put up their windows and said he was going to leave them sit there until the brains melted.
Lebanon police tell us the driver picked up more kids at Bowman Elementary School, and it was near the junior high school where the driver allegedly pulled over and made the kids sit in the 90-plus degree weather with all of the windows up.
And then I kind of had a little calming down period and sat her down and had a talk to her, and it was basically like, "Are you exaggerating?" And she stuck by her guns and said it was 100% accurate.
It's unclear how many children were on that bus, and while school officials investigate, so will Lebanon police.
If they think there was harm to their child or potential harm, and they have some details about the case, then we need to hear from them.
That was Allison Montoya reporting. One unusual discovery by an employee at a Goodwill has grabbed the Austin Police Department's attention. AP looking for a person who may have donated this, a human skull, to an Austin Goodwill store. Employees were sorting donations when they opened a container with a human skull inside. They notified officials, but police say they have no idea when it was donated.
It could have been something that was kept by someone for who was a student of anthropology, it was a student of medicine, dentistry, any of those things.
We're keeping it weird. That's a skull that found our way here for the Halloween headquarters, so the timeliness is interesting.
Yeah, Austin likes to keep it weird. An online search reveals that anyone can buy a real human skull with the right amount of money. Some of them go for as much as $2,000 a piece, and most appear to have been used previously by medical schools.
Well, I can guarantee you they were used previously by somebody.
Yeah. When you did that.
Yeah. All right, up ahead, no more taxi cab caps, while lawmakers are taking a close look locally at the taxi cab industry.
And rescuing the rescuers, why a group of lifeguards in Newport Beach had to get outside help.
And your chance to sip coffee on the Friends Couch at Central Perk. When and where the iconic coffee shop will be setting up.
Good evening, meteorologist Sabrina Fine. Tomorrow, as you continue to watch those high waves rolling on through, we're doing it under a lot of sunshine, allowing temperatures to warm to 80 degrees by noon, 79 degrees by 5 p.m. These temperatures are above average. We'll tell you for how long coming up in just a bit. We'll see you on the flip side of the break.
Taxi cab industry now getting the attention of lawmakers. Just a day ago, the state Senate passed a bill that would require ride-sharing companies like Uber and Lyft to buy insurance.
Today, local lawmakers announced plans to allow more cabs in the city of San Diego. As Nancy Aziz reports, some say it'll help cab drivers make a decent wage and may bring down cab fares, but cab owners say it'll kill the investments they've made.
Taxi work is like one day you get, the other day you do not get.
Umar Sheikha drives a cab 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. Getting passengers where they need to be, getting nowhere himself.
I'm hardly making my monthly bills.
Sheikha pays $1,800 a month to lease a cab from its owner. Add to that the cost of gas. He says he makes so little he can't afford to bring his family here from Ethiopia. But all that could change soon.
We are gathered here today to announce our proposal going forward to eliminate the caps on taxi permits in the city of San Diego.
City Councilwoman Marty Emerald and City Attorney Jan Goldsmith, both of whom drove cabs in their earlier years, propose allowing anyone who's qualified to be able to get a taxi cab permit, also called a medallion. Right now, only 993 are allowed in the city, and while they originally cost $3,000, they're being resold for upwards of $160,000. Forcing cab owners to charge their drivers like Sheikha big lease fees.
70% out of what we make, it goes to lease and the gas. So if we own it, that money goes to our pocket, and definitely it is a difference for cab drivers.
But cab owners like Ray Salahi say it will kill their investments. Salahi paid close to $300,000 for permits on 2 cabs.
Who's going to write me a check if tomorrow they free the permit? And my medallion is going to worth $1.
So what might the change mean the next time you hail a cab? Opponents say it probably won't affect your wallet one way or the other, but Emerald says prices might have to come down.
By eliminating the cap, we invite more professionals in, we lower the overhead, and we make this an industry where everybody can make a living and where consumers ultimately will get a break.
Emerald says the change is needed to save an industry suffering from competition from Uber and Lyft. She says the proposal could allow him to buy his own cab and bring his family to the U.S., finally putting him in the driver's seat.
It is joy, happiness.
Nancy Aziz, San Diego 6 News.
The plan still has many hurdles to clear, including being voted on by the Public Safety Committee before it's taken up by the full City Council, and then the Metropolitan Transit System Board would also have to say yes.
Straight ahead, lifeguard rescue takes a dramatic turn. Why 4 lifeguards had to be rescued while they were trying to save someone else.
The beach hazard statement for San Diego County now extended through Friday night due to the high surf and risk of rip currents continuing. Today, lifeguards rushed to help a body surfer at the surfing spot known as the Wedge at Newport Beach.
The entire rescue effort was viewed on live television while hundreds more people watched from shore. 4 lifeguards swam to the man who appeared to be tired and struggling out there. The waves were up to 25 feet. After several minutes, the lifeguards and body surfer appeared to be unable to reach the shore themselves, so they all had to be rescued by a boat.
Sometimes even the rescue crews need to be rescued
With waves
as well.
like that, yeah.
Well, folks, just looking to cool off here, Sabrina. It is warm.
Oh my God, it's extremely warm. When you think about the fact of our record is 91 degrees, and we were only 6 degrees away from that in downtown San Diego, getting to about 85 degrees. La Mesa, you were at 93. El Cajon, getting close to the triple digits at 97, also 97 up through Poway Vista, around 88 degrees. Oceanside, 86, not even cool along the coastline. The triple digits for you in Campo and 110 out toward Borrego. We are going to see these temperatures, though, cooling off as we introduce the marine layer back into the forecast. Right now, though, clear skies, looking at 73 degrees into Alpine, 74 Del Mar, 74 as well up through Oceanside. And those clear skies, as well as the light winds, are going to allow for some of that fog to begin to develop over the early morning hours. The wave height has dropped off. Remember the last few days we've been seeing a few 10 and 12 foot sets. Right now, when you look out into the open waters, we're not seeing them that high. Instead, about 7 feet just off the coast of San Diego and around 6 to 8 feet just off the coast of Long Beach. Tomorrow we're anticipating about 3 to 5 foot sets off our coastline, possibly about 4 to 6 foot off of Orange County, and up to LA County about 7 to 8 feet there. For us, though, we continue to have this area of high pressure. That's what's kicking out Marie, which has brought us those high waves. We're ending up seeing our temperatures, at least on the warm side, for a few more days. We'll get seasonal, though, once we head on in through around Tuesday. All because the fog is going to begin to build back on into our area. It should clear off, though, right in time, though, for those barbecue plans, so no real worry. Here's your hour-by-hour fog forecast. At 7 a.m., you can see what we had at around 6 a.m. will already be pushed offshore. So I think once we get to around 7:30 and 8, everything will be okay for us. And then fast-forwarding on into Saturday, I think this day will actually have the clouds get a little bit thicker for us. So now starting off at around 6 a.m., pulling all the way out over toward La Mesa, covering at portions of 805. It should begin to clear inland areas once we head through around 10 a.m. Still a pocket of fog and marine layer lingering right along Coronado, but that should begin to clear as well at around 11 a.m. for your Memorial Week or Labor Day weekend. 7-day forecast. 82 degrees tomorrow, going 80 on Saturday. Inland looking at 94 degrees, 93 Saturday, at 88 degrees on Labor Day. The mountains 90 degrees for you tomorrow, tumbling to 83 on Labor Day, and the deserts 110. You do not drop much. You take it to 108 for the holiday. Let's look at your 7-day forecast, guys. Back to you.
Sabrina, thank you very much. Well, coming up, Brad and Angelina make it official where the famous couple tied the knot.
Coming up tomorrow on Wake Up San Diego.
Need help tallying your child's allowance? There's an app for that. Meet the San Diego father and his 2 sons that created it.
And the road to healthy skin, where you can get a free skin cancer screening.
It's all tomorrow morning from 5 to 9.
Brad and Angelina are now husband and wife.
A rep for the couple says they tied the knot in France on Saturday. The duo, who have been together for almost a decade, had a small private ceremony in a chapel. The pair are parents to 6 children, and they were engaged for 2 years. Shakira is going to be a mom for the second time. The Colombian pop star confirmed the baby news to the Spanish edition of Cosmopolitan. She was quoted in the magazine as saying, "Yes, the truth is that I'm pregnant." Shakira and her boyfriend, Barcelona soccer player Gerard Piqué, started dating in 2010 after meeting on the set of her music video Waka Waka. The two welcomed their first child, a son named Milan, in January of last year. Well, how badly did you want to sip coffee while sitting on the friend's couch in Central Park?
Well, your dreams have come true, courtesy of Warner Brothers and 8 o'clock Coffee. A pop-up recreation of the Central Perk, the popular coffee house, is in the works in Manhattan. They have loads of fun things in store for you. And get this, your favorite barista, Gunther, will make an appearance. The Central Perk opens in September. The Sopranos is famous for its ambiguous series finale, which left the fate of mob boss Tony Soprano a mystery. But the truth has finally been revealed. The creator of the show, David Chase, was asked in an interview if Tony was dead. Chase responded that he is not dead, but he didn't give away any other information about what happened to Tony. He did say the cut to black scene was inspired by Edgar Allan Poe's poem, Dream Within a Dream.
Straight ahead, eating his way to another payday. How many pounds of ribs one competitive eater ate and how much he won for doing it.
Let the contest begin!
Joey Chestnut has eaten his way to another payday. This time it wasn't hot dogs, it was ribs. He defended his crown at the annual Best in the West Nugget Rib Cook-Off Eating Championship in Nevada.
It was in Reno, Nevada. The goal, eat as much rib meat as you can in 12 minutes. It's kind of gross to watch. Joey ate 9 pounds, 2.7 ounces. It didn't come close to his record of nearly 14 pounds, which he set last year, but he did win, so he received a $2,500 prize for that first place finish, and he's so skinny. That's the weirdest part.
Yeah, it's remarkable because I don't think there's a lot of chewing that goes on. You know,
No.
they just somehow, yeah.
Which takes away the whole fun about eating, to like taste it on your tongue and all that, just to gulp it down.
They spend so much time saucing these ribs up. It's a big art up there.
I think you're thinking of a tasting competition.
Yeah, this is not that, right?
taste
You don't
the
even,
ribs.
you might as well just eat snails and have a snail contest because they're just going to
I'm sure they'll do that too.
Anything, pick anything, yeah. All right, hey, thanks so much for being with us. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.